Gemini, you are feeling like a force to be reckoned with as I'm connecting to your energy, and this makes a lot of sense. We do actually have Uranus that just entered into your sign, and Uranus is the planet of change, reinvention, and sudden and unexpected developments. So there is something here where it almost feels like you are breaking out and making waves in the world around you. So it feels very, very exciting. Before we get too far into today's reading, though, I just want to thank all of you who support this channel with your likes and comments. And if you've been following around for some time and haven't done so already, I really encourage you to hit that subscribe and bell notification. Not only does that support this channel, but it helps you stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. If you'd like to book a reading or energy healing session with me, you can find the link for my website in the description of this video, as well as links for all of my other social media accounts. So the cards that I pulled for you, Gemini, I am really, really intrigued by because I have the horse and the panther. And we will get into the tarot in just a moment. I'll shuffle the deck, but I wanted to get kind of deeper into the energy I was connecting to before. And with the horse, this is a very strong, sturdy, and endurant energy. So whatever changes you're making in your life right now, it feels like you're really going for something full speed, but you're also doing something that will be enduring or lasting. So whatever it is that you're committing yourself to right now, Gemini, I almost want to tell you to be careful because it feels like there is a lot of momentum that is going to be moving you in whatever direction you are choosing next. So make sure that it's aligned with you. Overall, though, the horse is a very positive omen. It's very stable, it's very strong, and it feels like you are building some kind of stability for yourself or finding your inner strength and resolve. And the panther is sort of interesting because sometimes this almost feels a little bit like the tower from the major arcana of the tarot, which can be sudden and unexpected destruction. But I don't necessarily see this in this way for you. It feels like you are embodying this panther energy. You are the one leaping out of the shadows, and all of a sudden you have just so much momentum and so much growth and power. It really feels like there are people who are surprised by you. Like all of a sudden you're just very present in someone's life, or you're doing something that's very powerful, very profound. And it does feel like with the panther, there could be something that is kind of coming up from your subconscious mind, or something that has been hidden in the shadows that is now being revealed in a very, I almost want to say dramatic way. But again, very, very powerful energy. And sometimes when I see the panther, it is also about facing your fears. So some of you could literally be going in a direction that both excites you and scares you. And sometimes that is what happens when you're going after what feels like purpose. It feels like the stakes are a bit higher. But this energy overall is very, very exciting. So I do want to see what we have in the tarot for you. As I'm shuffling, I'm just going to give my friendly reminder that these are general readings, meaning not all the messages are necessarily going to be meant for you. It could be for somebody else that you are connecting with, and some of these energies might also come in the reverse. So another person might be your own energy or vice versa. These are also timeless readings as well. So you're welcome to watch this as it resonates with you, as it finds you. And if I do talk more about the astrology, you could think of this as either reflecting on the time of this recording, which is July of 2025, or maybe there's just something similarly going on in your life at the present moment, regardless of what's happening with the astrology. So what are the messages that we have for Gemini? Wow, we have the Knight of Wands and the Six of Swords coming out first. This really does feel like you have had to leave something behind. And when I first saw this Knight of Wands, it was actually in reverse. I did flip it without realizing it though, so it feels like maybe you left a situation where you were a bit burnt out, or you lost passion in something and you were seeking passion elsewhere. Sometimes there is a recklessness that is associated with this card as well. It is also indicative of your sister sign Sagittarius, so maybe you're connecting with a Sagittarius, or that part of your chart, whatever your rising sign is having something like a transition or change. For you, this could actually be about relationships, maybe leaving one-on-one connections, contracts, or partnerships behind, especially if you are a Gemini rising. But again, this could really apply to a number of different situations. It feels like whatever you've had to leave behind, Gemini, it felt like there was something about you going after your passion, choosing the adventure, choosing life, and kind of needing to shake out of whatever routine or almost banality you were stuck in. So it does feel like there's already been some big moves, or you are currently in the process of a major transition or change. So let's pull a little more cards here. Let's get a little clearer about what this is, what you're learning from this, and how to kind of proceed. What are the messages that we have for Gemini? Told you. Ace of Wands as the advice, what you've gained from the past. This is all about inspiration, passion, and excitement. Something I'm actually getting for some of you is that you are meant to be a creative or very passionate person. And because you haven't been engaging in this, at least some of you, you've subconsciously sought out drama and thrill in toxic relationships or relationships that don't really serve you. And so you're now in this cycle of going after your passion and pursuing that for yourself, and you're no longer seeking that out through another person. That is a very specific message that's not going to be for all of you, but it is something I think you're meant to consider. But I definitely also see you embodying this Knight of Wands for yourself, where you are taking charge of something, you are going for something, you're acting on some kind of impulse, inspiration, or instinct. And it feels like it's causing you to move forward very quickly or to leave something behind in your life. And maybe this is even just a heavy emotional period as well. What else do we have for Gemini? Interesting. We do have some collaboration here with the Three of Pentacles and the King of Cups. Definitely feels like you are connecting with like-minded spirits, maybe with people who are healers or mentors or guides. Maybe you are working with someone right now and collaborating with someone who, I don't want to necessarily say has like authority, but has some kind of wisdom or perspective that you are seeking out. This could also be indicating a water sign. So potentially Scorpio, could also be Cancer or Pisces. You might be connecting or collaborating in some way. But I really feel like whatever it is that you are working on, there is a lot of passion. And as I'm kind of dialing into this energy, I'm noticing my own voice and my own energy kind of coming back down. It's been very up in the air, and now it's kind of becoming more centered, more grounded. And this is sort of the present energy. So it does feel like there is a bit of a coming down, coming back to your heart, being very emotionally present, and potentially seeking out people that you can do that with, or people who are in a similar boat as you. Interesting that I say that, because I am just looking at the Six of Swords. There is literally a boat here. And so it does feel like there are people who are in the same boat as you that you are collaborating with, or someone who's had similar experiences to you, who you are getting some kind of guidance or mentorship from. Maybe for some of you, this is also teaching from your experiences as well. That could be something that you are learning to do. So very, very interesting here. I kind of want to get a little more clarity before moving on. What is this about? What is this collaboration about? Wow, Three of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So again, a lot of connection. And I feel like this is a time to branch out, to network, to connect to people who inspire you is also something I'm getting. And I don't necessarily think that this is about romance, to be totally honest with you. This feels more like friends or people who you look up to. It doesn't necessarily feel like, again, you're seeking out thrill in those one-on-one connections. It feels healthier. It feels like there is more aligned emotionally here with the King and Queen of Cups, with the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. We do also have 3-3 here as well, so maybe you're seeing sequences of threes. So there could be something with trinities, body, mind, heart. or something with manifestation as well, which is what I associate with this number. 33 could also be a number that you are seeing a lot, which is the master teacher. And we did kind of talk about either you connecting with a guide or teacher or embodying that energy for yourself. Either way, it seems like even if you are connecting to someone who is guiding or mentoring or coaching you, they're ultimately bringing you into a direction where you are then going to be filling that role for other people yourself. So very interesting here. I'm curious to hear about what you are working on. It feels very, very positive, and it could also be something very artistic as well, because I get that creativity with the cups here. There could be something where you're like bouncing ideas off of someone, and that's giving you sort of passion. If you've been disconnected from your creativity, it feels like now is a really good time to do that, and also to seek out creative people, because that is something that is going to be inspiring you. Because I feel like in the past, you've surrounded yourself with people who really just don't have like big creative aspirations or goals, or they don't have that kind of passion that you're sort of seeking for yourself. And while it's not something that you can source from another person, it certainly can be something that rubs off on people. And like when you're around people who are really fired up, or people who are really passionate about what they're doing or creating, that can definitely be inspiring. So it feels like seeking out those uplifting kind of connections are very, very important for you right now. What is the change for Gemini at this time? What is the change or catalyst? We do have the Seven of Pentacles. So there could be a change in something that you've invested a lot of time and energy in. And maybe that's part of why it's been hard in the past to change or go into a new direction. Especially if you've invested a lot of time or energy in relationships, or maybe even in jobs or projects. Tell me more, actually, about the Seven of Pentacles. Why is this here? I feel like some of you are just, it's almost like giving me the energy, to be honest, of like a midlife crisis, regardless of what your age is, where you're almost waking up to like, oh, my life is limited. My time is limited. What is worth putting my energy and time into? We do have the Ace of Swords. So I do feel like you are getting some clarity around how you invest yourself. And the Chariot in reverse. Interesting. It feels like something is not aligned here in the way that you have been going about things. Or maybe you've just, on the other hand, maybe you've just chased after things without really remembering the big picture or bigger plan. And it feels like right now, even though there is pursuing things that are very exciting, there's a lot of creativity, I feel like it's also important to have an overall vision for your life, a plan, where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And that does sort of feel like the energy shift, where at the very beginning, I was feeling almost frenetic or just kind of bouncing all over the place. It was moving very quickly, and now it's moving a little more slowly, a little more deliberately. And maybe for some of you, this is more of a marathon. It's not a race with the Chariot in reverse. There could also be rethinking finances or getting your finances in order, especially if you've been impulsive financially in the past, because the Chariot does represent Cancer. And for you, that tends to correspond to your second house of finances, of values, of possessions. And so for some of you, you're kind of sorting through material things or financial things, maybe even cutting back a little bit if there are things that are weighing you down, holding you back. But for others of you, this is kind of about being more intentional and changing your spending habits. I'm feeling like some of you might be online shoppers or people who kind of impulsively buy things. And not that I think there's anything wrong with intentionally treating yourself to something if that's available to you, but it does kind of feel like there might even be a void. Maybe that was also a way that you sought thrill before. So if you felt empty, if you felt void of passion, of creativity, you might have been trying to fill that by shopping and getting the dopamine from that. So that's quite interesting. I feel like some of you are kind of in the process of saving up for something as well. So that's kind of a change that is taking place. Maybe even kind of the challenge to rise to right now. But where is all of this going for Gemini? What is the card for the future? We do have the Two of Pentacles. Some of you are going to be making a change, whether that's in your career or with your home. That might also be why it's important for you to save or to be frugal or to just track your finances a little more carefully. Because it does feel like you want to make some moves. You want to make some changes. You might also be juggling a couple of things around. Your life might get very busy in the near future, or maybe it already is. And so it is important to just be very intentional with how you are spending your time and energy, because I do think with the Two of Pentacles, you are able to find that balance. It's not the Ten of Wands where you're trying to do too much or take on too much. There is a balancing act here, but it feels very feasible. Like you don't feel overwhelmed, you feel whelmed. Like you're kind of meeting the demands that are before you right now. But I do feel like for some of you that is going to be something that's about balancing finances and what you are putting your energy towards. Just being very intentional. And remembering where you want to go. That feels important. Anything else for Gemini at this time? We do have the Page of Swords, so again, there could be lots of communication, learning about new things. I really do think of the pages as a student, someone who's learning, and the Page of Swords, especially with the swords representing intellect, it does feel like there is some kind of learning or communication going on. It could be networking. And I do feel like with the Page of Swords, sometimes there is this really wanting to prove yourself. Sometimes this is even the energy of a rival, or someone to kind of compete against, some healthy competition perhaps. Interesting. Tell me more. Eight of Cups. Again, leaving something behind. I feel like some of you really could be traveling or on the move, or learning about other parts of the world. But I really do feel like some of you are wanting to move on to bigger things, or you're ready to go into the next chapter. And it feels like there could be some things you are leaving behind in that process as well, but it feels like it's time. Even if it feels like you're kind of going off into something unknown or new or different than what you've been doing. There is a change that feels like you're kind of learning as you go, and you're capable. Know you are capable to achieve what you are setting your mind to. Any other messages for Gemini? I feel like a lot of this was about career or purpose. I'm curious if there's anything else going on in relationships, maybe something romantically. I know there was some kind of connection or like networking going on. Any other messages about relationships for Gemini at this time? We do have the Nine of Wands. Honestly, Gemini, it feels like your heart is kind of in a rough place, but you have survived. You have made it through. So I feel like there could be something here where either there's been a challenging relationship and you've sort of been persevering, or I could actually see this as a bit of a trauma response that could be coming up in your relationships right now, because I see this sort of image of being bruised, of being wary, battle worn. And even though there is this message of survival, it does feel like you're still kind of worn down from whatever has happened to you. And I'm sorry if that's the case. Any messages here about love and relationships? Anything more? We do have the sun. So it does feel like there is some healing or clarity that is happening, maybe a resolution to a conflict, especially one that's kind of been going on for a while, getting on the same page. And I was also sort of feeling for you, Gemini, that it feels like there could be a positive relationship that is entering into your life, or maybe there is already. And because of this kind of woundedness from the past, it might be hard for you to trust or lean in on that. Again, the timing here in these readings is sort of fluid. So some of you might be in different phases of this journey. Maybe some of you are still sort of recovering from something in the past. Maybe some of you have done that, and now you're ready for whatever this new life the sun is bringing to you. But I do feel like there is something here ultimately that is about healing and kind of rewriting old patterns and beliefs about relationships. Anything else? Anything else for Gemini? Any closing messages? We have the Page of Wands, interestingly coming up in reverse. So I feel like you've always had this creative potential, Gemini, but it's just been very scattered. Because when I see the Page of Wands, it's someone who's very excitable, but can also be very distracted, might not necessarily have a lot of follow through. A page in reverse to me also kind of indicates someone who might not be able to meet a promise. And it's not necessarily that they're being deceptive. It's more just the case that they didn't have a good gauge of what their resources were or where they were at. And this honestly feels like it could be you. It could also still be about relationships as well. Maybe someone hurt you accidentally. I don't think they necessarily did it on purpose, but they were quite impulsive if that's the case. But I honestly think for some of you, it is like honing your vision. That feels like something that is very, very important for you right now. Because you are moving very quickly, but it's not the kind of scattered energy that I sometimes get with you, Gemini. It was at the beginning, but something is changing. You are now like a laser. You are moving forward in a very specific direction, and that is going to help move things in your life very quickly. Bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. So yeah, realigning with your heart and also the people that are healthy and aligned for you. That is where this is leading for you. There could be something very creative here as well, again, because that is the Knight of Cups. So it feels like reconnecting with your creativity is actually important, and channeling your energy. The ways you direct and express your energy are very important right now, and I think that's part of this big change. And I think people honestly are looking at you, Gemini, and not even recognizing you. Like, that's how dramatic of a change this is. Maybe you don't even recognize yourself, but I mean that in kind of a positive way. So this actually feels like a very, very beautiful energy overall. And I hope this was affirming and gave you some things to reflect and think about. If you've made it all the way to the end here, definitely be sure to hit that like button, comment down below what it is that you are moving towards, what was coming up for you. I love to hear that. And of course, be sure to hit that subscribe and bell notification if you haven't already. That way you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. And let us know that you've made it all the way to the end. Give us that horse emoji. There was a lot of knight imagery here too. There were a lot of horses, and even the chariot kind of invokes that as well. So that might be a sign or symbol for you to look out for. Anyway, Sagittarius, those are all the messages I have for you at this time. I do have a link for my website in this description if you'd like to book a reading or energy healing. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video. Take care.